And good evening. Welcome to Discipleship University for November. It's good to see you, Viviana. You're first in class, so you get a gold star. It's good to see you guys this evening as we begin our November portion of Discipleship University. Hope that you've had a good day. I hope that you've taken the opportunity to vote either today or prior today. So we're really glad to have you here tonight. And this session is going to be something really kind of fun and exciting. I thought about this and I got contracts signed. And so over the next couple of 3 weeks, you're going to get to spend time with me, which some of you guys think, well, that's all I get to do is spend time with you. But it's the co-facilitator, the neck that turns the head. You will get to hear thoughts, stories, insights that you've never heard before. You may get to hear me called untruthful or remembering things differently. We don't know. This could go 1,001 ways. We simply don't know. It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma. And so tonight, for the first time in a long time, it is my privilege to welcome in my bride and your co-host for the next 3 weeks, the Mrs. Sharon Vaughn. How are you, hon?
Good. Nervous.
Nervous?
Yeah.
Well, good evening, buddy. I hope this lives up to your anticipation. Chad, good to see you, brother. We're praying for all of you guys. Thank you for taking time to be with us. Tom, good to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. Brother Jason from Albuquerque, how are those Hatch chilies working for you, my brother? It's good to see you. Thank you for taking time to be with us this evening. So, well, this is going to be a little bit different. When we decided, kind of laid out the schedule for DU, I chose this month, and my goal was that it would be something a little different. We started off with the theology class, which was awesome. And then Jeff and Josh did a great thing. And I thought, I think I want us to do something a little bit different, maybe a little bit lighter. This is most assuredly not a couples only discussion. In truth, my goal is we are using this as a primer, but my goal is that we would use a couple of chapters out of this book that applies to all of us, and that can be applied in just social interaction as much as husband and wife, or that sort of thing. Sharon's already has a fan, so say hello to your fans, hun.
Hi, Vicky.
So that's awesome. So this will be a class participation. Okay. Let me show you our wallpaper, Viviana. Hold on. Yes, nothing but the best for you guys. So, but our goal, especially tonight, is to hear from you guys over here in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We especially love maybe questions. We've lined out, it looks like 6-8 topics that we're prepared to talk about. But we would love if you have any questions that you would like for us to discuss or answer. So here's the format. Because you don't get to hear as often from my bride as you do from me, I wanted us to take tonight's session and just talk about us and maybe give you some history that you do not know, maybe give you some insight that you've not seen, just to spend some time with my bride and I, and us just kind of talk about what it's like being a part of this little thing called the Vaughns. And so really looking forward to this. So, hey, hon, what are you most nervous about?
Saying the not messing up.
Well, honey, you are an expert on you, and you're at least half the expert on us, if not more. And so this is going to be a very interesting and fun occasion. So let's see, what can I do here? Okay. Hey, honey, if you'll look at your laptop, if you'll look at the top right corner, you'll see the power button. And then just to the left of that, you'll see a little speaker. If you'll tap that.
Left, you said?
I'm sorry, right. You see, if you go to the top row on the right-hand side and go to the second button, if you'll tap that, that'll turn your volume up just a scotch. So give us a mic test.
How's that? Did that do anything?
Yeah, did a little bit. So hold on just a second. Reset that mic for you. So, all right. So, looking forward to this. And like I said, we have a few areas that we kind of discussed prior to being here tonight. And we're open. This is your opportunity. If you ever wanted to ask, this is a great opportunity to ask questions. And so, with my bride here, we are going to open tonight's discussion on Meet the Vaughns with the first question of how did we meet? Now, if you've been around long, you've probably heard me tell my recollection. So let me ask you, sweetheart, can you share with us your experience and how we met?
Well, y'all had been coming to church for a while, you and Les and a bunch of the band boys that Les was in the band with, and we had never met. And then my mom invited y'all to Pizza Hut, and I happened to sit by you, and we talked for a long time. Was that before? I can't remember. Was that before or after the moon thing that you did?
Well, that was before.
Okay.
And we went to Pizza Hut. Now, listen, I'm all good, So, do you recall any first impressions? I mean, were you just completely captivated by this strong, opinionated, brash, outgoing guy, or was it just a little much? I mean, what do you remember?
You were really funny. That's what I liked about you. You were really funny, and you talked a lot, so I didn't have to talk.
Yeah. Now, love, we both were different back when we first met.
Yes.
I'm not happy or proud about it, but I was very strongly opinionated, and I certainly didn't have a filter, and I didn't mind hogging airtime. And so if you see the personality I am today, if you take it back then, it really was a bit unbridled or unthrottled. So now, how would you describe yourself, love?
Very, very quiet. Very, very quiet.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, your mom was very gracious. Miss Barbara never met a stranger, and she just loved people. And it was Sunday night church. And I remember going to Pizza Hut, the old Pizza Hut, not the current Pizza Hut, and sitting in the big tall booths. And yes, that was where we first met each other. And then I've shared in my testimony how the day of my salvation went. And now someone may be here that hasn't heard that story. I'm not going to tell the whole story for the sake of time. But the day I gave my life to Christ, I didn't hear the sermon that morning, but I heard the special song, the special that was sung that morning. And lo and behold, the individual that sang that song that morning is my bride. And needless to say, that was impactful in my life, and it kind of started changing the trajectory of my life in a lot of ways. So hon, you mentioned the overt effort to catch your attention. Do you want to tell that story for us?
I can.
Yeah, you tell the story.
I came out from church. We were at Park Street Baptist Church at the time, and you threw yourself on the lawn. And I said, "What are you doing?" And you said that you were getting a moon tan. And then you asked me to go to Brahms, but I had something already that I was doing, so I couldn't go to Brahms.
That's right. So it was, if I remember correctly, it was a Friday night, and they had a volleyball net there at the church, and people would come there and play volleyball. And I was there, and I can't remember if it was that night, but I asked you to hold my class ring because I was playing volleyball. And I remember asking you to go to Brahms, to which you promptly said nope. And I thought, well, all right, but I don't know if it was the next Friday, probably, because I don't discourage that easily. Asked you out to Brahms. We went to Brahms, had an ice cream, and then went to your house and sat and talked for a good while. A good while. Now, was that the night? That wasn't the night that we talked about me showing you the stars, was it?
No.
Okay, that was later on.
Our first date.
Okay. Our first official date. So,
yeah.
So tell them your version of the star story.
You said you wanted to go out and look at the stars, and we went out and looked at the stars, and you left. And I thought you were going to give me a kiss, but you didn't.
Okay, yeah. And it's funny because I remember that very well. And, one, I thought,
I lost you.
Sorry. I thought, I might impress you with my knowledge of astrological bodies and things. And I did think about giving you a kiss, but I chickened out. And I left her standing on her parents' front porch, thinking, there may be a kiss. And now this isn't known by too many people. Sharon was the only girl I dated after becoming a believer. And I didn't want to do it wrong. And quite truthfully, I was a brand new believer. And I did not know if Christians were allowed to kiss each other. I didn't know. I just wanted to make sure that, right? You don't want to do the, so I didn't know. And so I didn't know how that was going to work out for us and things like that. So left her standing. Now we've mentioned your mom, and I love Miss Barbara, and she was one of the first and most lasting impressions of what I understand a believer to be. She was just gracious and kind and just 1,000 things. And so most of you, if not all of you, have never had a chance. Miss Barbara's in heaven today. And so I prepared a photograph. I think, and you can correct me, love, I think this is your graduation. I could be wrong, but you can correct me, okay? This is my dear mother-in-law, Miss Barbara. Whoop. Oh, come on. There we go. And I think this is your graduation. Is it, love?
It looks like it. It's got a graduation hat on the.
Okay, because I think the top line says congratulations. So that's Miss Barbara. The family resemblance is strong.
Mm-hmm.
Strong. So anyway, so that's how we first met. And like I said, we met shortly after I started attending Park Street, and we started dating in the spring, and we secretly agreed to marry because Sharon was in her last semester of high school and was 17, and I was not 17, nor in high school. And we purposed to marry in November of 1987, but we pushed our wedding date back a few months so that all of our family could be there. And what was I going to? Oh, so hon, tell them about your family. Give them some background on the Sampsons and what was the makeup of your family and things.
My parents were Barbara and Paul Sampson, and my dad worked at L3. He started when it was Timco, I think, and then it turned to E-Systems and L3 and all that. But and my mom was a homemaker. She never met a stranger. She had a beautiful singing voice, and she loved to garage sale, and she would drive 30 minutes out of the way anywhere to go to a garage sale. That was her love. She loved to do that. And so now do I. But she would pick up homeless on the side of the road and put them up at the Silver Spur Motel or bring them to the house and feed them. And if you ever came over, within 5 minutes, there was brownies or cake or something in the oven. She was a good hostess.
Now, share with them one of the most interesting hobbies you and your mom enjoyed doing.
My mom had a really good camera, and her favorite thing was to take pictures of clouds. We had so many pictures of clouds when she passed, but we loved to walk through cemeteries and take pictures of the really old headstones because they're really cool. Now they're just all kind of the same. And if there was an abandoned building, she was walking through there and she was taking pictures of stuff. Now she'd probably get arrested. She just liked to take pictures of old stuff. So.
And did you guys do relief on headstones sometimes, or am I thinking of something else?
I'm sure we did at one time, but most of the time it was just pictures, and I would pick out which headstone I want. Some of them are really funny. You know, some of the old headstones they put funny things on there, or they say funny now. I don't know if they meant them to be. But. So
tell them about your family, your mom, Miss Barbara, and your dad, Mr. Paul, and what siblings do you have? Where do you fall?
Well, I didn't say much about my dad. My dad was a good Christian man. He was hardworking. He never, there was nothing he couldn't fix. If it came down to it, he could fix anything. And he loved the book of the Revelation, and he taught on it often. And he was just a good dude. And I have 4 brothers who are living. My oldest is Shane Sampson. He worked at ESCO for up until they closed, for like as long as he had a career there. And then he moved on, and now he works with my brother Mark, my second brother, at a school district. And my brother Mark owned a computer and VCR place here in town. So if you ever had your VCR fixed back in the day, it was probably him. And then my brother Stephen grew up here. But in between, I had a brother who passed away when he was five days old. And then Stephen came along, and he grew up here, and he had some issues growing up, but he's doing so awesome now, and he loves animals, and he had a raccoon not too long ago, and I was really jealous because I want a raccoon so bad.
Now, growing up, Sharon was a little bit of a Dr. Doolittle. Give us a list of the critters that you enjoyed growing up.
We had, I don't even know how many cats and dogs. We had baby calves from the time I was probably on a bottle. There's a picture with me next to the big calf bottles looking at them like probably like, what on earth? But we had pigs, and we had a couple of different skunks at different times that were descented. And then I had a possum that was a rescue. The mom had gotten run over, and it would run around. It would ride around on my head until it got big enough. One time I was in Artist Heights grocery store, a little store, and it pulled on me, so I had to stop letting it ride around on my head. But we had a little bit of everything.
So I always joke with you that your mom never passed up a stranger, and you never passed up a strange animal.
No, not at all. She was the reason we had a lot of them, because she would, if there was a stray, we probably took somebody's dog at one time, because if there was a stray on the side of the road, she would pick it up.
So you and I, we dated. You graduated high school, and we dated, and we originally had scheduled to marry in November of '87, but we pushed back to February. And so what are your recollections of our wedding day?
It was really pretty. It was a really nice wedding.
Yeah.
I was very nervous, of course, because I'm super introvert, but it all went well until the end, and I got out of the building, and somebody stressful because I was an introvert standing up there. But I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I do too. I wish I was smarter than I was. There were a couple of things that I think are kind of humorous. One is, no one loved me enough to tell me that I couldn't wear white athletic socks with my black patent tuxedo shoes. And there's at least one photo where you can see them. You're talking about, and your dad, and justifiably so in hindsight, wasn't completely sold on me. And I remember the story being communicated that he paced in the front lobby of the church, whispering, "I guess it'll work. I hope it'll work."
Yes, he did.
And
but he probably had the beginnings of Alzheimer's then, and we didn't know it yet.
But like I said, now being a father of a little girl and the grandfather of a little girl, I get it. I absolutely get it, so, but the wedding day was awesome. And I don't remember a lot. Thankfully, we had a video made, and but all I knew was I wanted to be with you. And looking back now, I realize how little I did know, so. All right. Well, that leads us into, let's talk a little bit about ministry. Here we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's another who can fix anything, and he's still can.
So you and I were serving together even before we were married. We were engaged when our first church called us out at Merritt. You helped organize the music because we were youth and music at the time. And obviously, we've been in ministry together now 33 years. 30, is it 33? Math's not good in my head. So, how's ministry been? What's that?
We were at Merritt before we were married.
That's correct. September of '87.
Yeah.
So tell me, how have you enjoyed the life of ministry? And it's not always easy being a pastor's wife, a minister's wife, and sometimes it's tough on the kids and things. But tell us, share with us what are your thoughts? How did what do you?
I mean,
people know.
I love it. I love being a pastor's wife, and we've always been very blessed to be at good churches and all that good stuff. And I've served, I've been teaching kids since I was 17. So I've hopefully served right along with you, when I can, but I've loved it.
Well, it's interesting is, so that September, when we were called at our first church, it seems like it was it was that quarter, somewhere in there. I can't remember exactly. One of my sisters got married in El Paso. Terry and Martin got married in El Paso. And my fiance went with my family. And amazingly enough, and thankfully, my family didn't chase her off because I have a very unique family situation. So I'm going to share with you, this photograph was taken of us in El Paso while we were attending my sister's wedding. Look at us. Styling and profiling. This is actually the post-wedding reception at the family's house. And that was that was before the party that night. So we were young and in love, so. And then I have one more photo I want to share real quick, because in ministry, like I said, I think it's an equal calling to serve in ministry as a bride and as a mom and all these things, because it's hard. I know there's been times that you've been up, it bothers you when people maybe talk poorly about me or think poorly about me or those sort of things, or even more, on the occasions where the kids maybe get bound up into something. But I remember, when you and I had first started dating and the Lord called me to ministry. I mean, Lord, I didn't even know what all that meant. And I came back to you. We'd already secretly agreed we were going to marry. And I shared with you, that I needed to do this, and I would understand if you didn't want to go further, with what we had planned. And do you remember what you said to me?
I said that I always felt like I was called to do that, to be a minister's wife.
And I'm going to tell you what, guys and gals, that was pretty powerful. And so from that day on, our first church was in September of '87. By the summer of the next year, we were at a different church, not by our choice. And I hope this comes across pretty well, but this is the photograph from summer camp of 1988. And if you're looking at this photograph, if you want to find us, go from the bottom to the top, third row, left-hand side, and we are the third and fourth individuals in this photograph. And we were newlyweds, and we were at camp, and kids were driving us crazy. It was awesome. And Sharon went to camp with me every year, I guess up until, well, no, you were at camp when you were expecting Lindsay. So we've been doing this thing together. One more photograph at my ordination. That was at Artist Heights, and I can't remember exactly what year that was now, but here is another photograph of us. Man, look how spiffy I look there. I look large and in charge with that coat and tie on. So, but that was when I was ordained by Artist Heights prior to our going to Dixon. So that was a good time. So ministry's been good. We haven't always had a lot, but we've always had what we needed. And I can just say this you have always been a wonderful partner. One of the reasons I wanted to do this with you is, you are a bit reserved and you are kind of quiet, and folks don't get to hear from you or get to know you as much as they'd like. And so this is an opportunity over the next few weeks to get to know you, to hear your thoughts, ideas, and those sort of things. So, but ministry's been wonderful. I agree. We've been in some wonderful churches and served alongside of some wonderful people. And so, all right, well, let's talk about our kiddos. Now, you and I always purposed to have a couple of kiddos, even before we were married. Now, let me ask you this question. Would you think we would entertain a third kiddo had the car accident not happened and it had been so difficult in carrying Trey? Do you think we'd have had 3 kids, or you think 2 would have been enough?
I think so. I mean, I probably would have had a bunch more.
Now, what folks don't know, I've kind of alluded to it a little bit, is my bride. Now, honey, this is your chance to defend you. I think my bride would have started having kiddos on the honeymoon if we had agreed to it. Is that true?
Yes. All I ever wanted to be was a wife and a mom. And
I jokingly, she was very patient. I jokingly say I held her off, but she was very patient. And unfortunately for my bride, is I had a lot of issues that I was working through, and quite truthfully, there's still some issues I'm still working through from my childhood. And for me, the thought of becoming a parent wasn't as exciting. Not that I don't love kids and I don't love my bride. I just had an unrealistic fear of not seeing them grow up. And that was really tough for me because, I lost my parents when I was 7 and 9. So I had this unrealistic fear. And so I'm so thankful for your graciousness and by far being the stronger of the two of us. You chose, it was your desire, and you chose, and we worked and sacrificed that you'd be a stay-at-home mom with the kiddos. And I wouldn't trade anything for the times I left the house and those kiddos were all, hunkered up in bed with you or something. And so tell me, how was it being a stay-at-home mom with 2 little ones?
It was awesome. We had no money, but the kids never knew it because we were constantly going to the park and feeding the birds or going somewhere. And most stuff for little kids doesn't cost anything anyway. So they never knew any better. They thought they were living their best life. So it was great.
Well, one of the things that you and I committed to early was that we were going to invest in memories. And I think we have given them a good bank of memories. And one of them, of course, you've heard us talk about it, is our state fair tradition, which COVID robbed us. But, all these years and still today, it's a joy to see especially our daughter, just light, smooth up when you talk about the state fair. So we've got 2 kiddos. Lindsay is our oldest. She's a hairstylist. She will be 30 years old here week after next. November is a very expensive month for the Vaughn home. Mia's birthday is tomorrow. She'll be 3, our granddaughter. And then Lindsay's birthday is the 16th, and she will be 30. And then the 19th is my bride's birthday. And the 29th is our son's birthday, Trey, and he will be 26. Yes, good math right there. So, I couldn't be more proud of our children. I'm so very thankful for everything that factored into it, that our kiddos didn't become stereotypical ministers' children. Honey, wouldn't you agree that they never even really trended towards something like that?
No, they were great.
And they still love the Lord, and the schedules are a little challenging for them right now and things, but it was my deepest desire that we were going to try and live our life and raise our kids in the church in a way that didn't cause them to reject the church. And I owe a great deal, to my bride for making sure we stayed balanced in that, because, when you when you live in a fishbowl, a lot of people have opinions about how you. Honey, is there anything that stands out in your mind? Was there ever a time that, there were people's opinions or something that you remember that really stands out that you had to kind of push back on?
I can't think of one now. There's been times when, the only time you'll see me mad is if somebody talks bad about Jimmy or the kids, and then that lights me up. So
yeah, I
remember
once.
We're very fortunate in that, and we haven't had to deal with that because we've had awesome churches to be at. So hardly ever.
Yeah, we're very, very blessed and very thankful for all the folks that helped us raise our kiddos. I remember one time, a long, long time ago, there was this gal at church, and I don't even really remember the circumstances, but it didn't cross my mind. But I remember. Do you remember what I'm talking about, hun? Where you felt like she was flirting with me?
Yes, but she is a teenager. But I just told you she better behave, because I would have to let her know about it.
And can we agree, love? It's really important to listen to how people perceive and what they see, because I admit I have blind spots, and that you would see that and that you would share that with me was really important, because in ministry, we've unfortunately over our years have seen guys go down the wrong path and ultimately make terrible decisions. And so it's really important when communicating, and we're going to talk more about communicating next week, is that we listen to what is being said and that we take it with value and things. And let me just also say this: it never hurts to feel, see a little jealousy. It's not a bad thing. Makes you feel, kind of special and things. So, and then Trey, Lindsay, when she was born, she looked so much like me. I apologized to my bride. I don't know if she remembers that, but Lindsay looks so much like me. Fortunately, she grew out of it to a great degree. But the family genetics are strong with both of our kiddos. But Lindsay, personality-wise, is really more like me, and that was a source of a little bit of strain in her teenage years. And then our son, Trey, looks a lot like me as well. I couldn't deny him. My son is really his mom's kiddo. He's quiet and reserved and very intelligent and creative. And so we got one of both models, and they, one is more like me and one is more like her, but just great kiddos.
A lot like me too, though.
Lindsay is a lot like you.
I would say now she's a lot like me. We'll go to the store and we'll pick out the same stuff, and then we'll realize we picked out the same stuff.
So let me ask you, have you seen Lindsay? Have you seen yourself in Lindsay as she's parenting Mia?
Absolutely. She's very good with Mia. She's a very good mom. She's a different mom than I was because she's got a different personality, but she is an excellent mother.
I see you in her on often, and that's awesome. And now, unlike my bride, my daughter will give you her opinion. She will quick draw that on you, and not that that's a bad thing, but Trey is more quiet and reserved, and when Trey speaks, people tend to listen because unless you're in a more secluded, private, smaller conversation, he's not really one to be out in front. But he is hardworking, and he's at pharmacy college. He's 2.5 years into a 4-year PhD program, and just so intelligent, so disciplined, and caring. He's a very caring young man, and that's the reason he said he ultimately chose pharmacy. He wanted to help people, and I can't tell you how much I respect that and appreciate that. So let's see. A couple of other things here. Let's talk about the hard thing, and then we'll talk about the easy thing. One of the two easy things. So when Lindsay was 1.5 years old, approximately, Sharon and Lindsay were involved in a 2-car automobile accident out in front of what used to be the mall. And, thankfully, Lindsay was uninjured, but my bride was significantly injured. And I remember meeting her care flight at Parkland, and she was going in for emergency surgery, and the prognosis was uncertain. And but obviously, you can tell how it turned out. But it took a great deal of time for you to begin to heal from that. And do you remember what I said to you when you were in ICU on that ventilator? Do you remember that? I can't remember if you remember.
No. Okay.
So I come in to see you. It might have been the first time I saw you post surgery. You're in ICU, you're on a ventilator, but you're alert. And I told you that either God really loved me or he was really upset with you, because either he was upset with you that he made you stay with me, or he really loved me that he gave you back to me, so and you laughed and set off the ventilator, and they had to come reset, whatever. So but that was a turning place for me, because I had prayed on the way to the hospital as best I could that, the Lord's will would be done. And I'm really glad what it was, especially, looking back. And now, for what you guys don't know about my bride is this is one of the toughest ladies you'll ever meet, because in this car accident, it shattered her hip. It broke her ankle. It ruptured her spleen. It perforated a bowel and her stomach. And all of those things had to be dealt with and overcome. And she did. And then a few years ago, my bride took a little bit of a stumble and broke her right arm, compound fracture, and got to wear a metal cage for a bit. And so my bride is tough as nails, and she carries a few of them too. So very, very tough. So honey, is there anything you want to talk about as far as from the car accident? That was, so if you want an idea of how gracious the Lord was, my bride was in a 2-door Chevy Sprint. That was the compact car of the day. And the guy hit her in the driver's side door, and they slid and rolled 2.5 times and landed on their lid across the street from Schlotsky's over by what used to be a car dealership where Racetrack is today. So when the police arrived, the first to arrive on scene is a friend of mine, and he said when he got there, he could see Lindsay's arms dangling from her car seat, and he reached in and he felt something warm, and he, unfortunately he assumed it was blood. Well, it was the M&Ms that I had bought her earlier, and it was the chocolate. So Lindsay was basically unscathed, thank the Lord. But my bride, the driver's side was compressed 3.5 feet. There was no driver's seat left. It was gone. And the fact that she even survived the impact is miraculous, much less the rest of the story, as the great commentator used to say. Any thoughts, ideas, cries of outrage about that, love?
Oh no, I just remember not trusting anybody that Lindsay was okay till you said she was okay.
Yeah.
And that was all right.
Yeah, tough deal. And just, one of those things that really changes you and reminds you that every day, things can change. We don't control the day. We can manage the day. So I'm going to give you, we've got 10 minutes. I'm going to give you the choice. I got 2 topics on our list that we talked about that we can talk about. I don't think we can touch them both. So I'm going to give you the choice, okay? The topics are hobbies or travels. Which one do you want to talk about?
Hobbies, I guess, because I've had more hobbies than travels.
Okay.
Had the most travels, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are the hobbies? What does Sharon Vaughn like to do?
I love to garage sale, go to thrift stores. I redo furniture. I make jewelry sometimes. I haven't made it in a while, but I sew. I've got a lot of hobbies.
One of the fun things when we were both younger, I was gone quite a bit, different places, and so the running theme was something always happened. We had a water heater go out. We had a kitchen ceiling fall in. We had live animals in the house. We unfortunately lost your Uncle David and your dad while I was away. I can't remember. Well, you had a car accident on the way to picking me up once. So we had this running theme of what was going to happen. But on a better note, it was very customary for my bride to take on a project. A room may be repainted, furniture may be rearranged, furniture may be replaced, those sort of things. She's very creative and has skills in a lot of things. So tell us what do you enjoy the most about working with the furniture? Because, I've told you before, there's been more than one time I've seen a piece of furniture when you take hold of it that I, quite truthfully, I wouldn't even sit out by the curb, much less. So tell us, why is that? What about that do you like? What is it that flips your switch?
Would go in the trash and fix it up and, make it to look like brand new again and be in good shape again. And I loved paint. Painting is very relaxing. It's like therapy for me to paint.
So your brother Mark is watching. So you want to tell your brother hi?
Hey, Mark.
He was reminding us of the snake in the kitchen.
Yes, that was when Jimmy was gone too. At 3 a.m, I called Mark, and he comes over with no shoes on, and I think he was like in shorts and a t-shirt. And we're in the kitchen trying to figure out how to get the snake out of my kitchen window, and it was like 4 foot long. And so finally, I believe I opened the door. And I believe he swept it out the door finally, but it took us a while to figure it out. Poor Julie and Mark, they constantly had to bail me out when Jimmy was off doing something, because everything would break while he was gone.
You know, hon, we have been very blessed with our family. You know, your family has always been there, has been so generous, so supporting of our ministry, and then, you know, my family. And I think we both can agree our lives would be radically different if it weren't for the families that we enjoy. And
Absolutely.
You know, and then on top of that, you know, we were fortunate to have good church families, and so we really have been blessed in those ways. And absolutely, you know, Mark and Julie and Shane and Delania and, you know, Stephen, and they're just wonderful people, and it's a joy, you know, to be a part of the family. And so, you know, if you want to know my hobbies, well, currently it's working. I enjoy playing golf, as much who I play with as what I play, because, you know, golf is what it is. But I haven't played a round of golf in 2 years or better. You know, I don't have a lot of hobbies. You know, I don't know. So if we're going to talk hobby talk, my part is going to be very small. I do like supporting her hobbies. It is. What's that?
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's not unprecedented that I come rolling home with a dresser or something in the back of my car that I find sitting alongside the road. And we've had people laugh about that, and I've had people witness it firsthand. You know, if it's out by the corner, it's going to get a look. And so we enjoy that. And then when we were younger, we did a lot of antique shopping. We used to go to, what's the town over beyond Terrell that was all antiques and stuff? Forney, wasn't it? Remember they had those big antique malls, and we'd go and spend the morning and just walk through them and go to the Blue Bonnet Cafe for breakfast, you know. So, but you know, now we've had some travels. My bride has dipped her foot in the West Coast, in the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, and the Mediterranean. And so which beach, if you could pick one beach, which beach would it be for you?
It had to be Oregon coast, because it's just so wild. It's like wild beach, wild. Yeah. It's cold, and the waves are huge, and there's rocks, and it's the prettiest, but the Mediterranean would be second, because it's so blue and so gorgeous, and I could just live there in a hut on the beach and stay there forever.
So Sharon has traveled, you know, she's been to Israel and to Jamaica and to Mexico. And we've touched a lot of states over the years between ministry and just traveling. And so we've seen quite a bit. So what's your favorite what's one of your favorite places that we've been in the United States? We'll go inside the continental.
Oregon, honestly.
Okay.
Everything about Oregon is beautiful. There's waterfalls everywhere. There's the coast. There's the gorge. Is it gorge? Columbia River Gorge?
Columbia River Gorge. Mm-hmm.
There's the gorge. There's fruit trees everywhere. And it's just hills. And it's just beautiful.
I would concur. Oregon is one of my favorite places in the world as well. And I've seen a good share of it and in differing portions. So, well, my love, our first hour together has flown by. And next week, for you guys that want to read, we're going to be discussing insights and highlights of chapter 2, talking about communication. Men are like waffles and women are like spaghetti. We're going to talk about the communication of the two of us, and we're going to talk about some of the challenges and some of the uniqueness. It's a beautiful thing. God has created us in a way that is unique and different, and we need to accept, who we are and how we are. But I don't think we should accept the fact that it has to be difficult. I will say here, I'm a better communicator than I was. I'm not perfect by any means. And so the waffle thing, the whole illustration of the waffle works well for me. And I'm not going to speak for my bride. I'll let her speak for herself next week if she's truly spaghetti. But we're going to talk about communication, and we're going to talk about our lives and communicating. And like I said, this isn't a couples thing. We just happen to be a couple. And I wanted to share this with her. So, love, any last thoughts? Cries of outrage, fits of anger?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Did you enjoy it so far? Awesome. Well, next week will be very fun, very interesting as we talk about the way that we communicate, and even all these years, we're still learning and still processing and still trying to do better. At least I am. And love you too, brother. And so we're going to talk about the next week. So if you have the book, you can go ahead and read chapter 2. And like I said, we're going to do highlights and insights from that next week. We hope that you've enjoyed this walk down memory lane with us. If you ever have a question, or if you think of something you'd like for us to answer, jot it down and you share it with us next week, because a big part of this is just we want you to get to know us better, because we love you guys. And like I said, I take up a lot of the light. I take up a lot of the airtime. And so I want to give my bride equal due these next couple of weeks or so. All right. Well, love, you did great. And I guess it's time for dinner and elections. I'm about to go crawl up on a couch and see how the evening go. So we love you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you all for taking time, for stopping by with us. And on behalf of my bride and I, thank you again. We hope that you have a great week. And as always, please continue to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. And we will see you next time for Men Are Like Waffles, Ladies Are Like Spaghetti. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.